Back to shock and amaze you on this episode of how it's processed in this protein powder packed edition. Welcome to Process Zone. Let me just tell you, this ain't your average, what I eat in a day kind of thing. We're going deep like balls. I mean industrial-sized vats deep into the world of protein powders. You know, that stuff you chug after a workout thinking, this tastes kind of chalky, but hey, gains, right? Well, today we're breaking down the mystery behind 5 of the most popular protein powders out there: whey, casein, soy, pea, and finally hemp. We're talking massive factories, complex processes, the whole 9 yards. We'll cover 9 essential amino acids as well, but we will get to those in a minute. Have you ever wondered how they turn milk into a powder that somehow doesn't taste like a glass of warm milk? Or how they constantly convince plants to give up their protein secrets? Well, buckle up, because we're about to find out and peel back the layers the protein powder mega factories don't want you to know about. Get ready for a wild ride through the fascinating and slightly bizarre world of protein powder production. Ready, set, let's go.
First up, we're tackling the OG of protein powders, whey. This stuff's been fueling gym rats and athletes for decades, and for good reason. It's basically the gold standard when it comes to muscle building thanks to its quick absorption rate. But where does it come from, you ask? Well, believe it or not, whey starts its life as humble milk. That's right, the same stuff you used to drink from those tiny cartons in elementary school. Now, before you start picturing a bunch of dudes in hairnets squeezing cows into protein powder containers, let me explain. Whey is actually a byproduct of cheese making, which you might have seen in our video on how cheese is made. Make sure you check that video out next. Basically, whey is the liquid that separates from the curds during the cheese making process. So next time you're enjoying a cheesy pizza, remember that you're indirectly supporting the whey protein industry too. It's like a beautiful symbiotic relationship. So we've got this watery whey left over from the cheese-making process. Now what? Well, it's time to turn this liquid gold into the powder we all know and love. First, the whey goes through a series of filtration processes to remove any impurities and excess fat. Think of it like a Brita filter for your protein shake, but instead of just removing chlorine, these filters are designed to isolate the pure protein. Next up, the whey is pasteurized to kill off any unwanted bacteria. We're talking high heat, folks, enough to make any lingering microbes say peace out. But don't worry, it's a delicate balance to not overheat and ruin the milk at the same time. Gotta keep things clean and safe, you know? Now here's where the magic happens. The whey is dried using a process called spray drying. It sounds complicated, but basically they blast the whey through a super hot chamber, evaporating the water and leaving behind a fine powder. And voila! Just like that, we've gone from humble milk to muscle-building powder. It's science, baby!
Alright, so we've covered the fast-acting muscle-building superstar that is whey protein. But what if you're looking for something a little more sustained? Something that sticks with you like that friend who crashes on your couch for a week. You know who you are. Enter casein protein, the slow-digesting, muscle-protecting hero of the protein powder world. Like whey, casein is derived from milk, but it's the other half of the equation. Remember those curds we talked about earlier? The ones that become cheese? Yeah, that's where casein comes in. See, milk is made up of 2 main proteins, whey and casein. While whey is the quick-absorbing party animal, casein is the slow and steady marathon runner. Casein takes its sweet time breaking down in your system, providing a steady stream of amino acids to your muscles over several hours. So how do we go from those cheese-loving curds to a protein powder that actually tastes decent? Well, it's a bit of a process, but stick with me here. First, remember how whey is separated from milk during cheese making? Well, casein is what's left behind. It forms those solid curds that are the foundation of all things cheese, but we don't want cheesy tasting protein powder, do we? So the casein curds go through a series of washing and drying processes to remove any lingering lactose or fat. This helps to neutralize the flavor and create a more palatable powder. Once the casein is nice and clean, it's time to turn it into a powder. This is usually done through a process called microfiltration, which essentially pushes the casein through a fine membrane, separating it from any remaining liquid. The result? A smooth, creamy powder that's perfect for mixing into shakes, smoothies, or even baking. And the best part, it'll keep your muscles fueled and satisfied all night long. Alright, so we've tackled whey and casein, the heavy hitters from the dairy aisle. But what if you're lactose intolerant, vegan, or just trying to cut back on animal products? Don't worry, we got you. That's where soy protein steps up to the plate, swinging a complete amino acid profile. which is a fancy way of saying it's got all 9 essential building blocks your body needs but can't produce on its own. Think of it like this: if muscles were houses, amino acids would be the bricks. And trust me, you want a solid foundation. Now, before you picture me chugging a glass of soy milk after every workout, let's be clear. We're talking about soy protein isolate here. It's extracted from soybeans, like squeezing the good stuff out of those little green pods. This process separates the protein from the carbs and fats, leaving you with a lean, mean muscle-building machine in powder form. And don't even get me started on the versatility. Smoothies, pancakes, you name it, soy protein blends right in. So, how do we go from humble soybean to workout warrior fuel? Picture this: vast fields of soybeans, stretching as far as the eye can see. It's like a green ocean out there, but instead of waves, you've got rows upon rows of these protein-packed pods. These soybeans are harvested, cleaned, and then it's time for the magic to happen. They go through a process called dehulling and flaking, which sounds like something you'd do at a pottery class, but it's actually crucial for extracting the protein. Next up, they get hit with a solvent bath, kind of like a spa day for soybeans, but instead of cucumbers on their eyes, it's chemicals that separate the protein from the rest of the plant. Don't worry, it's all F.D.A. approved and totally safe. Finally, the soy protein is dried and ground into a fine powder, ready to be scooped into your shaker cup. It's a long journey from field to fitness, but trust me, the results are worth it.
Alright, so we've covered whey, casein, soy, all the heavy hitters. But let's talk about a protein source that's been quietly pumping iron in the background: pea protein. Yeah, you heard that right, peas. Don't let the size fool you, these little green machines are packed with protein. We're talking about extracting the good stuff, the protein power, from those tiny peas you try to flick off your plate. And trust me, the process is way more involved than just blending a bunch of peas in a giant smoothie maker. First things first, gotta grow those peas. We're talking massive fields, endless rows of green. It's like a scene out of a movie. Except instead of a car chase, we've got tractors and combines harvesting these protein powerhouses. Once those peas are harvested, they're off to the factory to begin their transformation. Think of it like a superhero origin story, except instead of gamma rays, we're talking about some serious industrial magic. Turning those little green guys into a potent powder involves a few steps. First, they separate the protein from the rest of the pea. They use milling and extraction. The end result? Pure pea protein isolate, ready to fuel your workouts and build muscle. And the best part? Pea protein is vegan, hypoallergenic, and easy to digest. Whether you're lactose intolerant, allergic to soy, or just want plant-based protein, pea protein has you covered. Don't underestimate the power of the pea. It might surprise you.
All right, we're diving into the world of hemp protein. And no, this isn't your stoner uncle's hemp. It's a legitimate protein source that's been fueling humans for centuries. Now, it's making a comeback in fitness and nutrition. Hemp seeds are like the overachievers of the plant world, packed with protein, fiber, and healthy fats. A plant that can build a house and fuel your workout. The journey from hemp seed to protein powder is fascinating. It starts with harvesting mature hemp plants, separating the seeds from the stalks, and cold pressing them to extract the oil. After oil extraction, the remaining meal becomes protein powder. Now, here's what makes hemp protein stand out from the crowd. It's also considered a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids our bodies need but can't produce on their own. And on top of that, it's loaded with omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, which are like the VIPs of the fat world. These omega fatty acids are essential for heart health, brain function, and reducing inflammation. So basically, hemp protein is like a multivitamin and a protein shake all rolled into one. Talk about efficiency. And let's not forget about the earthy, nutty flavor of hemp protein. Maybe not palatable for everyone. It's not your typical vanilla or chocolate protein powder, but it's got a unique taste that grows on you. Plus, it blends well with smoothies, oatmeal, yogurt, you name it. Get creative in the kitchen and let your inner chef run wild. So, if you're looking for a plant-based protein source that's packed with nutrients and good fats, hemp protein is definitely worth adding to your arsenal. It's the omega warrior of the protein powder world, ready to fuel your body and mind.
So there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of the protein powder mega factories, the what, whey, and hemp of protein powders. We've seen how these protein powerhouses are made, from the farm to the finished product. It's a fascinating process that most people don't even think about, but hey, that's what we do here. We dig deep, we get curious, and we share the knowledge. Now, remember, while protein powder is a great supplement, it's important to consume it in moderation. It's not a magic bullet, and it's not a replacement for a healthy diet and exercise. Always check for GMP registration and certified for sport labels to ensure you're getting a high-quality product. And don't be afraid to experiment with different types of protein powder to find what works best for your body and your goals. Stay healthy and keep building those muscles. Peace out.